Okay, so tell me, Kathy, how did you meet your significant other?
I met him when I was out with some friends, and we used to go on Friday nights to Bob Big Boys and just kind of hang out and have hamburgers and that kind of thing. And he had just gotten back from Vietnam, and the girl that I was with knew him, and she introduced me to him, and that started the whole thing.
Okay, and how long did you guys date for?
We dated for approximately 4 months.
4 months before you guys got married?
Yes,
Okay. And what do you think attracted you most to your mate?
because he was honest with me and he was kind, and I didn't have that in a lot of or dating or at that
And a lot of
time.
past relationships?
We're in past relationships, yes.
Okay.
And he was different and more grown up because he'd gone through the war already, and um, that attracted me to him.
That's really nice. What do you think attracted your significant other to you?
That's a good question. I think at first he wasn't attracted to me. He was attracted to my girlfriend, but she had a boyfriend already. So we started just being friends in the beginning, and we spent more time. And as we spent more time, then we started going to the show together and out to dinner. And I think he just got to know me, and that attracted him to me. I worked, I was young, and I had a good job, and I wanted to be a housewife at that time, that year in '69, and just have children and grandchildren, and that was my goal. And
How old were you when you guys met?
I was 18 and he was 19.
Wow. And how old were you when you got married? Same age?
Same age.
Wow. Were you ever tempted at some point, whether you were dating or married to him, to have an extramarital affair?
Um, well, I don't know. I think most people, in their life, we've been married a very long time,
How many years?
uh, 44 years this year. In
Wow.
November, it'll be 44 years, and we've, like everybody, had ups and downs, and never carried through with anything like that. But you know,
There's temptation there at times.
there's just times you'd think about it, not really temptations, but think, what would it be like to be married to him, or whatever. you
Someone you
know
worked with, maybe,
yeah,
or.
yeah,
Yeah.
at work you just think, I wonder what he's like. He's probably a really great husband, and he probably really wasn't. You're just thinking that way.
Yeah.
And but no, I never carried through with it.
Okay. What do you think made you jealous throughout the relationship or marriage?
Well, he had a lot of girls that he knew through work, and um, his work and stuff like that. And there were quite a few that were attracted to him and would call him on the phone, and that really it upset me and made me jealous, and I didn't like it. And I would tell him I didn't like it. He knew I was jealous, so he would just tell them not to call.
So, the way you dealt with it was, were you able to talk to him and let him know that that bothered you, or
Yeah.
he could just tell by your attitude towards the women calling?
No, I had to tell him.
You had to talk to him about it.
Yes.
Okay, so you were able to be open with your jealousy on certain things.
Yes.
That's good. What do you think is the most important lesson your parents taught you about marriage?
You mean verbally or just what we saw in the marriage?
Both verbally and what you saw about your parents' marriage, perhaps.
Well, my parents were verbally, I want to say verbally active with us. I have a brother and a sister, and there was the three of us. But what we got out of their marriage and learned, they had a wonderful marriage. They are still married, and they've been married like 85 years.
Wow.
Or no, not 85 years, that's how old they are. Wait a minute, back it up. Let's see, I'm 62, I'll be 62. So they were married, I think, they're married like 63 years. And all through that 63 years, I never saw them get in a bad fight.
Wow.
Ever. I mean, I remember once my mother got mad and left in the car and went around the block and came home.
That's how they solved it back then.
Yeah, but they never yelled and fought or ever in front of us children. And
that's amazing.
yeah, they had an amazing marriage. They've had a very good marriage, and they still do. And my mother's been through a lot of illnesses and cancer, and she had survived it and didn't make a horrible, oh, poor me. She just, it happened, and she got through it, and, was we were proud of her because she wasn't feeling sorry for herself, I should say.
She's strong.
She's very strong, and she is. She's very strong, and she's not overly emotional, like she's not overly sensitive, like me. I didn't learn that from her, and I wish I did.
That's okay.
But, just seeing their marriage and the way they were so close, and they would do funny things with each other when they were younger, like Mom would have the hose and spray them, outside, and they'd chase each other around. And
wow.
Just,
so they taught you maybe to be with your best friend, or...
Yeah, it was like that, and they taught us that it wasn't normal to fight, because when I saw people fighting and things like that, or married people, friends, parents, or things, it wasn't normal to me.
Right.
It was weird, and I didn't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was lucky. I was
wow.
very, very lucky. And I still am, because I still have them, and they still love each other, and they still don't fight.
No. So they provided you with a pretty good example of a married life.
A very good example. Being honest and loving each other, and having doing things together, and having friends, and we went camping, and when we were kids, they'd take us camping and on vacations like that with their friends and their kids, and we had a lot of fun, and they just did a lot with each other and us, and didn't have any problems with each other ever.
Wow.
That we know of. I mean, they wouldn't do it in front of us, so.
Right.
Yeah, so all three of us, my sister, my brother, and I, are all still married to our husbands for, like 40 years.
Wow.
All of us, so.
Do you think your parents, the way they had their marriage and their relationship made a huge impact on how you and your siblings carried on with your marriages?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you think is the most beautiful thing about marriage?
Well, right now, I mean, we had a lot of good times and fun, and our children that we love dearly, and our grandchildren that we adore, and that's a wonderful part of marriage. But together, as being together right now, um, I have multiple sclerosis, and my husband is my caretaker, and this has brought out more love for him from me because of what he does for me and has to, so, to do many caring things for me and always be there for me, and he does it, and he doesn't complain, and he is just there for me all the time, and he knows me like nobody else knows me. He knows what I need. He knows what emotions, what things get to me when people say certain things, because I am overly emotional. And anyway, so that's what makes me love him the most, is that he is a good, kind person. He tries to help other people too that are in need, and he has. And the older he gets, the more caring he gets for people, and for me.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, it sounds like, you know, it's it's a responsibility, but I think helping take care of someone that you're married to is like, it's not as much of, I mean, it is a responsibility, but it's almost like you want to do it to help them, and you want to be there for them as much as you can.
Well, that's true in our case, but what's, I don't know if I should say this, but when I first got this, I was read up on it, and I tried to educate myself on it, on multiple sclerosis, and I read that 90% of women stayed with their husbands and took care of them with it, and only 10% of husbands stayed with their wives. They divorced them. Wow. Because they couldn't handle the disease. And that, it didn't scare me because I knew my husband by then, and I knew he wouldn't leave me.
You found yourself a winner.
Yeah, but but I feel bad sometimes because he does so much for me, and he doesn't get out like he should. It's really hard. A caretaker, it's a big job, and he does it well. We get evaluated every year, but he does it well. They always give him a good report and what we do, how we're living, and they're happy with the way things are going.
Wow.
For us.
That's amazing.
Just feel bad sometimes, he won't leave me now. He's scared to leave me for falling and things that have happened in the past, and he won't get out of the house like he should, and I wish he had time to go fishing like he used to, and but he wants somebody here the whole time with me if he does that, and I can't put that on anybody. Everybody works and works long hours, my family, my girls and my grandchildren, and they all have their own lives, and they're busy, and they don't have time to be caretaking for somebody else, other than themselves. That's all they have time for, and that's what I want for them. I want them to achieve what they want and be happy, and that's really all I want for them. I love them so much.
That's inspiring.
And, but my husband too. He's got a little other side to him. He gets grouchy sometimes.
No one's perfect. It's true, right?
Yeah, he's a Gemini. He can be really, really nice, and sometimes he can be crabby.
Cranky.
Yeah. Not really with me, but just in general, sometimes.
Right.
But I know him, so I'm used to it, and it doesn't bother me. it goes away.
What do you think is the most difficult thing about marriage? About, you know, being together for so long? What are some of the more difficult things that you guys have faced or challenges you've had?
This disease.
Your disease, yeah.
It's really affected me because I feel, he says, he never says he doesn't like to do it or be with me, but I want him to, you know, get out and be with his friends sometimes, or
do the things that, make him happy, his hobbies and interests.
Right. He was really into fishing, and now, he doesn't go. He hasn't gone in a long time, and that makes me feel guilty, but he doesn't complain about it or anything.
Wow.
I tell him go, I'll stay in bed and I won't move, so I won't fall or anything. And he still says, no, so, but that's the hardest thing I've had to go through.
He's your sidekick?
Uh-huh.
He's your sidekick?
Yeah.
What, if you could do one thing differently, what do you think would be one thing you would do differently about your marriage?
I don't know. I think now that I'm older, I could look back and I'd want to change a lot of things. The hardest thing about my marriage.
Maybe the way you guys would communicate or resolve conflict or...
Well, no. Usually if we had not fights, but conflicts, it'd be gone the next day. Neither one of us hold grudges. So,
well, that's good.
Yeah. And if something happens, it's gone the next day, or you forget whatever happened. So that, and he is hard to communicate with.
Yeah.
That's probably maybe the hardest thing that I have. He doesn't like to I like to really talk things out about things that have happened, and he doesn't. He'll say, "You've told me that 3 times now," or he's watching a program and I'm making a mishap of it because I'm trying to talk to him about something. So I get a little irritated with that, and because he doesn't take any interest if I think it's something important that I'm telling him. For instance, one of my girlfriends, and he's not real close to her or anything, but I told him that she had, maybe it was going to be cancer, thyroid problems, and he said, oh. He didn't show much sympathy, and I was like, well, that's, don't you feel bad? He's going, well, maybe it's not cancer. Maybe it's not bad. He always has a positive attitude about it. Well, maybe it's not cancer. Maybe it's not, they're not going to die, or, so then I'm like, well, don't you have any feelings about it? And he just says, oh, no, I don't want to talk about it.
So maybe communicating would be the change,
right,
the main change.
Oh, yeah, right. Or how to learn how to do it. Both of us. I mean, I wasn't perfect, and I'm not still. So, I have my own problem. I'm not a perfect person, and I will go on about things sometimes too much, and he doesn't like that. So,
of course.
That's it, communication.
Okay.